are you guys doing? Alright, today we're going to be learning about the quadratic formula. I know we've done this. Okay, this should be reviewed. So guys, when I go over these problems for you, okay, pause the video, see if you can solve it on your own first. Alright, so we got to remember the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is going to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and is going to equal 0. Alright? So guys, a is going to be the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, c is your constant, and it has to equal 0 for you to be able to use the quadratic formula. Alright? So the quadratic formula is actually going to be x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Alright? You guys gotta have this formula memorized. It's one of the only formulas I'm gonna make you memorize right now. Okay? So there you go. Let's get to our first one, shall we? Okay. So A, solve for x. Alright, and our problem is going to be x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. So guys, I'm going to start us off with a really basic one here. Okay? It's already in this form. Okay, so what you might want to do is write down what a equals, what b equals, and what c equals. So a is your coefficient of your x squared term. Okay, there's really a 1 in front of that x squared. So a is going to be 1. B is going to be the number in front of your x. B is 4. C is going to be your constant. Alright, in this case it's just going to be a positive 1. Like I said guys, see if you can do this on your own. Pause the video. Okay, once you have it solved or you get stuck, whatever it is, okay, unpause it and I'll walk you through the problem. Alright, you're back. Alright, so let's do this. X equals, okay, negative b. So it's going to be the opposite of b. B was 4, so this is going to be negative 4 in my formula. Plus or minus the square roots of b squared. Okay? Guys, I always just do this in my head instead of writing down 4 in parentheses squared. Okay? 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 times a. So obviously negative 4 times 1. Multiplying by 1 doesn't do anything. I'm not even going to write it down. Okay? But I'm still thinking about it. B squared minus 4 times a times c. Alright, once again, it's just a 1. I'm just going to leave it like that. Now remember though, we still have our denominator. Okay? My denominator is 2a. Well, 2 times a is just going to be 2, so I'm just going to write the 2 here. Okay, what we're going to have to do though is reduce this a wee bit more. Alright, so I've got x equals, we've got negative 4 over 2 plus or minus, okay? 16 minus 4 is going to be 12. I have plus or minus the square root of 12 all over 2. Well, negative 4 over 2 is easy to reduce. That's going to be x equals negative 2. Plus or minus. So remember, the square root of 12, you can't just divide 12 by 2 because 12 is in your square root. 2 is not. Alright, so we got to go off to the side here. And we get a square root of 12. So remember, I see that 4 goes into this. The reason I see 4, okay, is because 4 is a perfect square, and the square root of 4 is going to be a normal 2. Square root of 3 is just can't reduce anymore. So I'm going to leave it as 2 square roots of 3. So this is going to be negative 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 3 divided by 2. And hey, wouldn't you know it, those 2's reduce. They go away. Guys, my final answer then is going to be x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 3. I'm good with you leaving your answer like that. Okay, just understand what this is really saying is x equals negative 2 plus the square root of 3. X equals negative 2 minus the square root of 3. Okay? These would be our two answers. Just write it like that. Actually, either way, I'm happy with. Okay? Let's go on to problem B. Yeah! We should get some music while I erase. Alright. Here we go. Problem B. Oh, I'm going to make this one a little bit more challenging, huh? Be good for you. X squared plus 7 equals 6x. Okay, once again, guys, see if you can go ahead and solve this with the quadratic formula. So today I want every problem you do to be solving with the quadratic formula, okay? You solving it? Come on, see if you can do this on your own. Don't be lazy. Alright, so guys, this is not in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. We must get it like that. So all we need to do is move the 6x over to the left side. Left side. X squared, I subtract 6x. Still have 7 equals 0. Alright, so when I go ahead and do this now, I'm once again going to write down a equals, b equals, and c equals. A is our coefficient for x squared. That guy's just a 1. He's hiding. Call him invisible 1. B is going to be negative 6. C is going to be 7. Okay? So, x equals, remember, negative b. That's going to make a positive 6 here. Okay? Negative 6 is positive 6. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. Okay? B is negative 6. Negative 6 squared is just negative 6 times negative 6. Negative times negative makes positive. 6 times 6 is 36. Minus 4 times a. A is 1. I'm not even going to write it because negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. So b squared minus 4 times a times c. So that's going to be a times 7 here. All divided by 2a. 2 times 1 is 2. Whoop, whoop. All right. So let's split these guys up. We get 6 over 2 plus or minus. Okay, the square root. Here I've got 36 minus, so 4 times 7 is going to be 28. All over 2. All right, so let's reduce this. 6 over 2 makes 3 plus or minus. 36 minus 28 is going to be 8. Okay, so once again, guys, if your square root reduces, you must reduce it. So, we got the square root of 8. Hey, that is not just the square root of 4 times the square root of 2, making 2 square roots of 2. So, I've got x equals 3 plus or minus square root of 8 we said was 2 square roots of 2, all divided by 2. Hey, those 2's reduce. X is going to equal 3 plus or minus the square root of 2. Okay? Guys, you can leave your answer like that. The other thing you could do is say x equals 3 plus the square root of 2, and x equals 3 minus the square root of 2. Okay? Either way, I'm happy with. Hey, we're having a good time, aren't we? Yeah. Look at this. No look erase. That's what you call skill right there. Never taking my eyes off the screen. How am I doing this? Magic powers. That's how. All right, let's move on to C then. Oh man, I didn't do a very good job, I guess. C is going to be 4x times x minus 1 equals 7. Lucky number 11. All right, so it has to be in this form. If it's not, you can't use the quadratic formula. Okay, so how might we get this in the form? Well, I could start off by distributing. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times negative 1 is a negative 4x equals 7. Okay, we need to get everything on one side. Move the 7 over, I have 4x squared minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. Now we are in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Guys, once again, all right, you need to try this on your own. Pause the video. You have no homework tonight. Okay, all you gotta do is work your way through this video and you're gonna be good. But if you just watch me do everything and then tomorrow try to do your homework, you're probably gonna make mistakes. Okay, you're probably gonna get stuck. So work through these, okay? And then I think you're gonna get a little bit better. You'll see where you made your mistake and you can fix that, learn from it. So we've got a equals 4, right? A is a number in front of your x squared. B is going to be negative 4. C is negative 7. Okay? So, here we go. I assume you've tried the problem now. You're ready to watch me walk you through it. What we're going to get here is x equals negative b, which is going to be 4. Plus or minus the square root, b squared, okay, negative 4 squared is a positive 16. Okay, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Minus 4 times a, now a isn't 1 for the first time, a is going to be 4, so we've got negative 4 times 4 times c, which was negative 7. Okay, all over 2 times a, which was 2 times 4. So, we've got x equals now 4 plus or minus the square root. Okay, remember you guys do get to use a calculator. I'm just going to work this all out by hand without a calculator. If you want to challenge yourself, try doing it without a calculator. So we've got 16. Okay, I've got 4 times 4. Oh, that's just too much at one time. So we got 16, right? A negative times a positive is going to make a positive. All right, negative and a negative makes positive. Here we have 4 times 4 is 16 times 7. 16 times 7. 7 times 6 is 42. Carry the 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4 is 11. So this is going to be 16 plus 1, 12, all divided by 2 times 4, which is 8. Okay. I'm going to split these up now. You could have split them up last time if you really wanted to. X is going to equal 4 over 8, plus or minus. 16 plus 112 is the square root of 128, all divided by 8. All right, so 4 over 8 reduces pretty easily. That's just going to be 1/2. X equals 1 over 2, plus or minus. Now the square root of 128. Do that off to the side here, square root of 128. I don't even know where to begin. I'm just going to take a 2 out because I don't know it's an even number. Square root of 2 times the square root. So half of 128 is going to be 64. Hey, isn't 64 a perfect square? I think it is, right? 8 times 8 makes 64. Some say 8 times 8 fell on the floor, picked it up, and that's 64. So we got square root of 2. Okay, I know this is going to turn into a normal 8. Okay, it's not going to reduce anymore. It's just kind of written backwards, not that big of a deal. I'm going to change them up. 8 square roots of 2 now. All over 8. And hey, my 8's reduce. Check that out. My answer is going to be x equals 1/2 plus or minus the square root of 2. How neat is that? Some might say too neat. So guys, remember you could rewrite this as x equals 1/2 plus the square root of 2 and x equals 1/2 minus the square root of 2. Okay? Or you can just leave it like this and I'm happy. I just want you to understand that it's really the same thing. Sweet. A, B, C. Next comes D. I know my alphabet. All right. Let's check out letter D. Okay? Once again, guys, try to do this on your own. 4x squared plus 2 equals 11. Okay? Pause the video. Try to solve this using the quadratic formula. Yeah. I didn't do that wrong. That's exactly how it should be. All right, we're back. You gave it a whirl. Let's see how you did. So, I want to get this in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. That means I want to get everything over on my left side. Now guys, there's no x's. Okay, that's all right. We got 4x squared. 2 minus 11 is negative 9. Okay? Like I said, there's other ways to solve this problem. I want you guys to use the quadratic formula for all these. Today, anyways. So, I don't have an x term. Isn't this the same thing as 4x squared plus a 0x minus 9 equals 0? Guys, remember b is always your term that goes with your x. Doesn't matter if we didn't have an x. That just means our b value is going to be 0. All right, so we've got a equals 4, b equals 0, c equals negative 9. Let's go through this then. X equals negative b. Negative 0 is the same thing as 0. You could write negative 0, you can write positive 0, I don't care, it's just 0. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. Now b squared, 0 squared is just 0. 0 times 0 makes 0. Minus 4 times a, which is 4, times c gives us negative 9. All over 2 times a, 2 times 4 is going to make 8. So, when I split this up, I don't really need to split this up because I get 0 over 8 plus or minus. Well, 0 over 8 is 0. We can just wipe that guy out. It's just going to be a plus or minus now. Here we have the square root. Negative times a negative makes a positive. We have 4 times 4 is 16 times 9. Well, 16 times 9. 9 times 6 is 54. Carry the 5. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 5 is 14. So we get the square root of 144 all over 8. Wait, isn't the square root of 144 a perfect square? Alright, square root of 144 is 12. 12 times 12 makes 44, 144. So this is going to be plus or minus 12 over 8, which reduces even further, right? 4 goes into both those terms. 4 goes into 12. 3 times. 4 goes into 8 twice. Okay, so x is going to equal plus or minus 3 halves. So that means x equals 3 over 2. X also equals negative 3 over 2. Now guys, if you found that this was a perfect square, that means you could have factored it. Let's just go check this out, right? I want you on your homework for C3 to use the quadratic formula for everything. C4 is when we're going to start mixing it in and figuring out which method is going to be best. But as long as we're here, okay, going back to 4x squared minus 9 equals 0. Okay, that is factorable, remember. You could solve that by difference of squares. These are all perfect squares separated by negative. Okay, one gets a plus, one gets a minus. The square root of 4x squared is going to be 2x. The square root of 9 makes 3. And remember, you'd set each factor equal to 0 to solve it, right? 2x plus 3 equals 0. 2x equals negative 3. X equals negative 3 over 2. Here we've got 2x minus 3 equals 0. 2x equals 3. X equals 3 over 2. Isn't that the same exact thing that we just found? Okay. So guys, if you know how to factor, obviously that would have been a better choice. But on your homework for C3, I want you to use the quadratic formula for everything. Okay, we're practicing the quadratic formula. All right, we're back. Let's check out E then, shall we? Yeah, let's check this out. Whoa. Hope you guys are ready for some craziness. 3x plus 24 equals 4 plus 11x minus x squared. Yuck. Remember, to use the quadratic formula, we need to get it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay? So guys, like I said, pause it so you can go ahead, solve the entire problem. If you get stuck right away, okay, watch until I get to a certain point. Once you think you know how to do it, pause it and see if you can finish it. Okay? Alright, so hopefully you guys gave it a whirl. I see that, okay, I've got x's on both sides. I've got an x squared over on the right side, but not on the left side. And I've got constants here. It doesn't matter, but I always like to have a positive a here. I always want my x squared to be positive. I think it just makes things easier for me mentally. Hey, if you want to get everything over on the right side and have a be negative 1, go for it. I don't like it though. Okay, so I'm going to move everything over to the left side. So I'm going to move this over by adding x squared. So I've got x squared. I'm going to move this guy over by subtracting 11x. 3x minus 11x is negative 8x. Okay, I'm going to move the 4 over by subtracting 4. 24 minus 4 is 20. Okay? Now guys, you have to say equals 0 over here. You can't just have that and then start doing the quadratic formula, okay? You have to have an equal 0 for you to use the quadratic formula. Okay? Don't be lazy. Don't forget that equals 0. You got to write it. So, now I'm in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. That means a equals 1, our invisible man out here. B is going to be negative 8, and c is going to be 20. So, here we go. X equals negative b, so that's going to be a positive 8. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, right? B squared, negative 8 squared, negative 8 times negative 8, positive 64. Minus 4 times a, I'm not even going to write that 1 there because negative 4 times 1 is just negative 4, times c, which was 20, all over 2a, which is just 2. Alright, so I'm going to split this up then. X equals 8 over 2, plus or minus. So this is going to be the square root of 64. Negative times a positive makes a negative. 4 times 20 is 80. All over 2. So, 8 divided, oh, see the glare there, I gotta stand and make a shadow here maybe. Alright, there we go. 8 over 2 is gonna give us 4. X equals 4, plus or minus. 64 minus 80 is gonna be a negative 16. So square root of negative 16 over 2. Now guys, as soon as you see the square root of a negative number, okay, you can say no real solutions. Okay, and I'll be totally fine with that. However, if you want to challenge yourself here, okay, we can keep splitting this up a little bit more. So we've got square root of negative 16 is really the square root of 16 times the square root of negative 1. Okay? Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of negative 1, we said I. That's really standing for imaginary. Okay? So, square root of negative 16 is really going to be 4i. So, popping back here, we've got x equals 4 plus or minus square root of negative 16 is going to be 4i divided by 2 then. Okay? So you can reduce that. 4 divided by 2 makes a 2. X equals 4 plus or minus 2i. Okay? And then you're all done. Either one of these is totally fine. Like I said, if you get to this one, that's outstanding. Okay, I'll probably give you a couple bonus points or something. Not on your homework, but whenever we get to our test. Sweet. Oh, I just wrote example. I think it was supposed to be E, wasn't it? Yeah. All right. All right. Here we go. Having a fun time, guys. We got 2 more to go. All right, we're almost there. You guys can. All right, you can do this. I got faith in you. X times x plus 2 equals 17. Once again, guys, pause the video. Try this on your own. All right, we're back. How'd that go? Pretty good? Yeah, I thought you kind of getting the hang of this. So the first thing I want to do here, get it in this form. Okay? I got to distribute my x. X squared plus 2x equals 17. Now, let's get it all on the left side. X squared. Ooh, that marker didn't do good there. There we go. That's a little bit better. Nice and crisp. Plus 2x minus 17 equals 0. So, as we go through this, a would equal 1, b would equal 2, c would equal negative 17. What kind of crazy number is that? Crazy. Yeah. All right, so x is going to equal negative b, so negative 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared. So 2 squared is going to make 4, minus 4 times a. We don't need to write times 1 because negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. I feel like I've said this before. Times c is negative 17. All over 2 times a, which is just 2. Sweet. So we've got negative 2 over 2 plus or minus. Okay, so I've got the square root here of 4. A negative times a negative makes a positive. 4 times 17, my golly, I don't know. Let's do some math. 4 times 7 is 28. Carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. You got 68 here. So 4 plus 68 divided by 2. Now, we got negative 2 over 2 is going to be negative 1. Plus or minus. 4 plus 68 is 72. All over 2. Now guys, remember you get to use calculators. Okay, I have no problem with that, but you can challenge yourself, see if you can do this without a calculator. Now the square root of 72, I don't have a clue. Okay, I got to reduce this somehow. I have a feeling it's going to reduce. A couple different ways to do it. I see it's even, so let's just do that, huh? Square root of 2. Half of 72 is actually going to be 36. All right, 36 times 2, 72. Which is lucky for us because the square root of 36 is a perfect square. Square root of 36 makes 6. Square root of 2 times 6. Okay, so let's go back here and rewrite this. We get x equals negative 1 plus or minus. So 6 square roots of 2 divided by 2. Okay, now we can reduce that. Okay, you can only reduce things not... I'm sorry. Oh, better. Alright, 6 divided by 2 is going to make 3. So I was saying you can only reduce things if they're not, alright, inside square roots. So you couldn't do that 2 and the 2 reduce because it's 2's in the square root. This one's not. Anyways, we get an answer of x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3 square roots of 2 then. Okay, did you guys see that? Yeah. Yeah, you guys got it right? Circle your answers, don't forget that. I said we had 2 more to do. We just did one, so that means 1 to go. Last song. You can make up your own words. All right, here we go. Gee whiz, we're having fun. That's right. G is our last one here. So, G, we got 26 plus 2x minus x squared equals 2. You guys, last one. See if you can solve this on your own. Okay, then unpause. See if we got it right. All right, we're back. You did good again, I know it. So guys, I see I got x squared over here. I got an x. I don't have any x squareds over here, so I kind of want to move everything over to the right side because here my a would be negative. If I move it to the right side, my a would then be positive. And I like a positive a, eh? Yeah. So we move everything over to the right side. I've got x squared because I added x squared. I subtract 2x. I'm going to subtract 26. Now 2 minus 26 makes 24 hours in a day. Okay, so here we go. We're going to use the quadratic formula again because I said that's how you have to solve all these. So A is going to be 1, our invisible man. B is going to be negative 2. C is negative 24. All right. So, well, once again, guys, make sure you say like equals 0 here. Don't just have it end there, okay? It has to be an equation. You got an equation here? You should have an equation every step along the way. Got it? Good. All right, so x equals negative b. So that's going to make a positive 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared. Now, negative 2 times negative 2 makes a positive 4. Guys, this number right here will always be positive no matter what. Minus 4 times a is 1, I'm not even going to write it, times c, so times negative 24, all divided by 2a. Well, 2 times 1 is just 2. Sweet. So we get x equals 2 over 2. Plus or minus. Okay, we got the square root here of 4 Now we got a negative times a negative makes a positive. 4 times 24, well, I don't know. Let's do a little math, a little arithmetic over here. 24 times 4. 4 times 4 makes 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. So we get 4 plus 96 all over 2. Now we have x equals 2 divided by 2 is just going to be a simple 1. Plus or minus. 4 plus 96 makes 100. Okay, now the nice thing is the square root of 100 is just 10, right? 10 times 10 makes 100. So now we've got x equals 1 plus or minus 10 over 2. Isn't 10 over 2 just going to be 5? So x equals 1 plus or minus 5. Now guys, like I said, whenever this comes out to a perfect square, it means we could have factored it, okay? Now this would not be a good answer. 1 plus or minus 5, I think we've talked about this earlier. Okay, I expect you guys to go ahead and do 1 plus 5 and then 1 minus 5. Now we get x equals 1 plus 5 makes 6. X equals 1 minus 5 makes negative 4. So we get x equals negative 4 comma 6. Okay? Now, like I said, if this was a perfect square, we could have factored it. I just want you guys to recognize that because factoring would have been way easier, all right? And that's what we're going to talk more on C4. Okay? Our next one, we're on C3 right here. So, like I said, C3, always do the quadratic formula. That's what I want you to do. But if we had gone back here, I just want you to see how much easier this would have been. Okay? So, if I want to factor, I do A times C. 1 times negative 24 is negative 24. Okay? We get 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Okay? Determine my signs. The larger ones are going to be the same sign as B. We have to multiply to get to A times C, which was negative 24. Well, positive times a negative will give you a negative. So these would all be positive. Choose the pair that adds to B. Okay. We would normally divide by A, which is 1, and reduce, but A is 1, and we're all done here. So here you would have gotten x plus 4 equals 0. X equals negative 4 by subtracting 4. Here we got x minus 6 equals 0. Add 6. X equals positive 6. Rather than having done all of that work. Okay, so just something to think about. But I do want you to use the quadratic formula on all of your homework problems for C3. Okay? C4 is when we're going to talk more about figuring out which one's best. Hope you guys are doing good.